Good afternoon. My name is Enrique Jauregui. I'm in Soc 355. I'll be reading to you Crime and Social Control in the Asian Pacific, an observational study, a cross-border study, by Victor N. Shaw. Chapter 2, Book 2. The study began in 1996. In the past 10 years, the author collected data on various aspects of crimes, deviance, and social control in an extensive personal and professional network in Asia and the Pacific. First, the author sought assistance from officials and scholars in Asia and the Pacific in obtaining statistics, documents, reports, and case stories. Second, the author traveled extensively across Asia and the Pacific to collect first-hand information. In his numerous fieldwork trips, he visited a representative range of countries or territories, including Hong Kong, Indonesia, Israel, Japan, mainland China, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand in Asia, Australia and New Zealand, in Oceania, Canada, Mexico, and the United States and North America, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, South America, Guam, Hawaii, all in the Pacific. For instance, the author observed border crossings in Hong Kong, explored drug trafficking routes near the Golden Triangle, visited villages in hinterland China, sat in criminology classes in various Asia-Pacific universities, conducted formal group meetings with official scholars and different Asia and Pacific countries, Thailand and the United States, and interviewed a sample of former drug addicts from Southeast Asia who now live in San Joaquin Valley. Third, the author reads Chinese newspaper, watches Chinese television news, and listens to Chinese radio operated by Chinese Americans in the United States on a daily basis. He continuously gathers news items, crime, deviance, and social control from these and various related sources. More important, he tries to remain on top of major developments in society across the Asia-Pacific. The author conducted both casual talks and formal interview with officials, scholars, research subjects regarding crime, deviance, and social control in Asia-Pacific. He examined pictures and documents, and at the time of conversation with officials, service professionals, crime victims. He sometimes received paper and electronic messages from scholars and experts following face-to-face consultations. First, the author interviewed organized crime leaders, prostitution ring organizers, sex establishment owners, drug dealers, and cross-border offenders in his various field work trips to Asia and the Pacific. Contact with established groups and their leaders was usually arranged with an insider's formal introduction. Interviews lasted briefly and less than an hour in a hotel lobby, or as long as half of the day at the leader's private ranch. Questions were open, free from inquisitorial pressure or moral connotation, and posed in a way not only appropriate to the situation, but also with the attempt to understand. For instance, taking the role of the interviewee, the author often asked the leader or owner such questions as, what does it take to survive and succeed in this business? What thoughts and feelings do you typically have following a long day of hard work? Talk with sex-related establishment owners for a few minutes took place in simple tourist encounters. The author walked through a well-known red light district in the city. When approached by an English-speaking business solicitor, the author stopped chatting with him about the district, the business, his job, his employer. In Bangkok, Tokyo, and other major Asia cities, the author saw Nigerians, Sinhalese, South Africans, Canadians, Americans, Europeans working as solicitor handlers or security guards for strip clubs, massage parlors, and other sex-centered businesses. In Tokyo, for example, the author, through a Sinhalese street solicitor, had the opportunity to talk to an alleged owner of two sex-related establishments. To the author's surprise, the self-claimed owner is an American who went to Japan initially as an English teacher. The most dramatic contact was with a prostitution ring owner in Malaysia in 2003. It came totally by accident. The author saw a middle-aged man pleading with the hotel clerk for a couple of rooms while checking in at the airport hotel. The man, who spoke Chinese, said that he had stayed there a few times without reservation in the past and had asked why suddenly there was no room this time. The author stepped in to offer help as the hotel clerk kept saying he did not understand Chinese. Acting as a Chinese-English translator between the man and the hotel clerk, the author managed a smooth communication that led to the finding of 2 rooms for the man. The man was obviously thankful to the author. He took the author to his companions who were waiting at the corner of the hotel lobby. With shock and disbelief, the author saw 11 young, good-looking girls as his companions, who would stay with him in 2 small hotel rooms. The author had previously stayed at the hotel on 2 separate nights on his multinational fieldwork trips. The man, noticing the author's surprise, explained that he was a tourist guide leading a group of girls in a trip to Malaysia. Later that night, the author secured a chance to talk to the man. From the conversation, the author learned that the man owned a dance hall or nightclub in northeastern China, that he recruited young women from his city and took them regularly on short trips to Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and other Asian destinations. That girls included each trip are scheduled to perform at nightclubs under arrangement by local Chinese in the host society, and that he aspired to cover Australia and Western markets where there is a growing Chinese immigrant population. At the end of the conversation, the man left the author with his cellular number, requesting the author help him expand his business to Canada and the United States. Second, the author interviewed drug users, prostitutes, illegal immigrants, and other cross-border violators or victims of various settings across Asia and the Pacific. While jails, reformatories, and temporary detention facilities are known places to reach officially caught or identified offenders or victims, the actual basis where people make deals or create problems, often without attention of the law, are likely to be border crossings, transportation hubs, and city streets. For example, the author learns about an important cross-border transaction, marriage dealing through purely civil contact. At the author's home party, one of his friends brought a newly met workmate who came to the United States through a kind of marriage scam. The author later interviewed the woman on her whole experience, and through her reached her former husband, as well as a few more women who went through the similar marriage experiences. From those interviews, the author was able to develop a general assessment of marriage dealing by individuals within the United States and individuals within less developed countries. In a typical story about marriage dealing, an American man, through his family connection, goes to a foreign country to look for young women to marry. He sponsors the newlywed wife to immigrate to the United States. Immediately upon marriage, he helps his wife apply for permanent residency. In the United States, he divorces his wife about 2 years later, and when legally stay in the United States, he then enters into another search for another young woman to marry. The deal is the man collects fees once the different milestones upon marriage, upon the arrival of the United States, upon filling of the application for the immigrant visa, upon approval of permanent residency. The woman is usually coerced to work, support the man and his family while being sponsored for a green card application. This chapter is mainly about all the interviews, all the observational visits that Dr. Shah completed all over Asia, all over the Pacific. It's a very interesting chapter and a very scary chapter to see that there's so much, how normal some of these people might seem and how easy it is to gain access to these people. Thank you, Dr. Shah, for the class.